chapter 80, we still got a bit of issues. A lot of the tension and anticipation for the interactions in Boruto this chapter felt a bit flat. Like the fact that we're going to have people like Sasuke potentially view Boruto as an enemy. I would have loved a small interaction, maybe a bit of a back and forth between him and Momoshiki. But instead, immediately, we get Sasuke, even though his memory's been altered, we have Sasuke hearing the explanation from his daughter Sarada, and then immediately, hey, I myself have this memory of you, but I'm gonna trust my daughter. I'm gonna help you out. Plus the headband, the headband I gave, the fact that you have it means something's going on, to summarize it. Which I don't really mind this, but the fact that there wasn't like any kind of conflict, that the tension just relatively just dissipated right away, it just leaves a lot on the table. It felt like I didn't even really get to eat an appetizer. It's like, hey, you sat at the restaurant, you ordered your appetizer, you ordered your entree, and instead they just gave you a half-eaten dessert. But it's like, whoa, where's the entire meal? Where's the entire setup? When you're eating the appetizer, then you're excited for your entree, you leave a little bit of space in your stomach, you're like, yo, I can't wait to bust down the dessert. And then when the dessert comes, it's half-eaten. You've already gone to the final stage of the dinner unsatisfied. So I didn't like that there wasn't much tension, there wasn't much conflict, there wasn't any like adrenaline in this chapter when it came to Sasuke and Boruto. It was more or less of like, hey, listen, I believe my daughter, your headband, let's go. It just went by way too quick. And there's a lot of over explanation in this chapter. We, as the reader, understand what's going on. But the fact that we have to hear Sarada repeat this to, I forgot her friend's name. But the fact that we have to hear it from Sarada again, and the fact that it extends a couple pages, it just feels redundant at this point. One thing that Boruto has always suffered is whenever information is relayed to us from the characters we read, we have to sit here and watch other characters discuss the same exact thing. It can't even be spoken about off screen. It needs to be repeated on screen for us to really know, like, hey, we just want you to make sure that they really had a conversation about it. It's like, no, that's fine. Like, we trust you. We've seen it, so we don't need them to rehash it. This is where, real quick, something that One Piece does wonderfully is how Oda is able to handle off-screen conversations or fights and end them in a way to where we understand what occurred, what was potentially discussed, and this is the outcome. Let's keep progressing the story. These are moments where things just fall into a halt. It slows down the story, and again, any bit of excitement that we've been waiting for is just sort of like, we got to drag it out. We got to drag it out a little bit. We still got to wait. Now, Sarada unlocking the Mangekyo Sharingan. I'm not too angered by it. I'm really not too angered by it. It's important to remember with the Sharingan and Mangekyo Sharingan, it isn't necessarily trauma. Well, I'll put it like this. It isn't necessarily negative trauma to where they need to witness something terrible in front of them. They need to have a loved one lost, dead, murdered, sliced up right in front of them in order to unlock the Mangekyo. There just has to be a strong emotion of love with whatever traumatic experience, life-altering experience they're going through right now. And Sarada, over the past couple chapters, from having to basically befriend this super, Ada, I was going to say a super cyborg, but I don't know, I lost my train. Having to sort of befriend Ada, mentally prepare herself to fake a friendship, to basically two godlike characters being your friends. Having this beef, one of your closest friends dying and coming back to life. And then within the span of like less than a week, reality just warped to where everybody wants to kill your friend and your father wants to kill him. I could see why that would trigger the response, the emotion, and the circumstances necessary for Sarada to unlock the Mangekyo. I'm not going to shit on it too hard. I've seen a lot of talk saying this is the worst way possible. I'm like, no. It makes sense. It makes sense. What's been established over the past couple chapters, not to forget, she's also a kid. All right? She's also a kid in an environment where we have godlike deities in constant conversations and in constant fights. As much at times we understand these shinobis, they have to mature quick, they have to deal with real life situations, war, murder, but at the same time she's still just a kid dealing with gods. I couldn't really imagine how Sasuke would deal, young Sasuke and young Naruto, and honestly part one characters deal with godlike beings. I know to us this seems just like, oh well, we already know them, we already established, we've already been through Shippuden, but for them this is something that's just I would like to say life altering almost every single time. My only problem, honestly, with the Mangekyo Sharingan, Sarada's, and it really ain't the design either. I think the design is okay. I give it a solid like 5 out of 10. It's just average. It's just all right. Is that she's still wearing glasses. She's still wearing glasses. And it's just like, all right, we up another level. The glasses are still here. I don't know. Is her vision that bad? Is this just strictly a character design choice? Again, there's a lot of panels between Sasuke and Boruto that I wouldn't say could be skipped so easily, but I would have enjoyed it being shortened up a bit. Seeing Momoshiki sort of rant off against Boruto abruptly losing his cool makes me think that whatever he's seen in his future is being rewritten at this pivotal point. Because he was overly confident in the way the future was going to go with him losing his eyes, the way his life was going to be altered. But the fact that we're in this position where Sasuke is going to help Boruto, Sarada knows the truth. And Momoshiki is just acting very, very out of the loop. Something significant happened here, whether it's Sarada convincing Sasuke, maybe that didn't happen in the future that he saw. Maybe it was Ada coming in here as well that just definitely just sidetracked everything even more. Like the fact that she's like, hey, I know that apologies won't cut it, but I'm still sorry, Boruto. I'm going to try to help out on my end. I didn't know Kawaki was going to, trigger what he did trigger. Is something to take note of. I just want to say something to take note of. And overall, this chapter right before the time skip, it easily could have been a lot better. It didn't really feel like no tension. It felt like a chapter of, hey, let's just explain what's going on. Let's sort of wrap it up and get to the time skip, which honestly, I don't mind at all. I believe Boruto's going to be on break till September. I will love from this point going forward, whenever it comes to reintroducing Boruto, reintroducing the series, for there to be a solid blueprint, for there to be a solid written structure to how it's going to be handled post time skip, especially when it comes to the pacing, especially when it comes to the power scaling, especially when it comes to the future, how we're going to wrap this up, just because there's a lot to be desired in Boruto. There's a lot to be desired in this entire world. And we also, we need to shake off a lot of the cast. That's something that Shippuden suffered of. A large cast that isn't fleshed out. And honestly, we really don't need that many people in here. Most of Boruto's friends, I'm okay with them not being involved at all. Which for some of you, it might be like, hey man, we want to see them fleshed out at least. It's been proven, whether it's the second half of Naruto or Boruto, that side characters are just not handled well. So instead of wasting time and energy on them just running in the background, let's just make sure they're not really a pivotal point of the story. But overall, I'm really excited, man. I'm excited as much as I have a gripe with this. The fact that it's committed to, all right, it's going to stay this way. It's not going to be solved in like a whole entire chapter of, hey guys, let's convince everybody now that we found out it's straight. It's all right. Very underwhelming, but I can't wait for the future because I've been invested in this since I was 8 years old. With that,